Hello everyone. I hope that you are all doing fine and you are studying, reading the material provided to you on various topics as well as watching the videos. And I encourage that you ask questions and we will try to resolve all your doubts as soon as possible by whichever medium possible. If we can do through Zoom class if it is technically possible. Otherwise, we can do it via chat and even telephone, or I can write it in a reply to you in an email. And today's topic that I have to discuss is functionalism because it is the best example of how a, it is the best example of interdisciplinary nature of cognitive science because functionalism is a theory of mind and discussed in philosophy of mind or developed by philosophers, but it is inspired by the artificial intelligence research program, you know, in cognitive science. The artificial intelligence research program, which started in 50s, and their aim was to build the machines which could, do the task which a human mind could do, or they wanted to develop models of human mind, artificial models of human mind, or rather physical machines which could mimic the meat machines or our brains. So all this intelligent activity that is, or intelligent behavior that is attributed to human mind, if it could be displayed or exhibited by a machine, that means that it was functioning like a human. Artificial intelligence research program provides a computational model of human mind, which says that if uh, which says that mind is more like a computer because when we run a computer program, it is capable of producing the similar kinds of result which a human mind does, like in calculation or any other cognitive task. In this sense, computer could be rightly said to be a model of human mind and how the human mind functions. Functionalism is a thesis or doctrine in philosophy of mind which says that a mental state such as thought, desire, or pain can be defined by their function in the cognitive system and not what they are constituted of. Now remember that it is very much a theory which is advanced against the mind identity theory and behaviorism. Mind identity theories identify mind with brain. They say that our mental states are nothing but brain states or neural states. On the other hand, behaviorism says that we do not have to look inside the human mind. We can, or even organism, physical makeup of the organism, we can simply define the mind as a study of dispositional or actual human behavior and its interaction with the environment. Now, with the development of computers, it became clear that in order to do any cognitive task like, let's say, calculation or multiplication, it was sufficient that there was inputs were provided to a system in which internally could store the information in the form of symbols, those inputs, and it could run a program, an algorithm that is a fixed formal rules to in order to understand that mental states are can be defined by their functions and not their constitution or the constituent element or substance. or stuff of which they are made up of or in which they are running. We can take the example of heart, kidney, or carburetor. Now, what is the function of the heart? The function of the heart is to pump blood to the human body, all parts of human body, fresh oxygenated blood. The job of the kidney is to filter that blood. The function of the kidney is to filter that blood. Now, whatever these organs, human organs are made up of, whatever material they are made up of is irrelevant to their function. And we now see that their biomaterial research shows that the function of a heart could be performed by a mechanical heart, or the kidney, likewise, could be designed or made up of some such material which is acceptable to the human body, integrated with the human body, and it can perform the function. As you see in the movie Iron Man, you can have a core, a powerful nuclear core to run the system instead of any other mechanism, energy management, energy source of energy to run your body or keeping your heart pumping. Now, carburetor is the similar way in automobiles. Carburetors is where the air and fuel combustion takes place. Now, again, carburetor does not have to be made up of heavy steel. It could be of some other stuff, including plastic, fiber, which could sustain that. It is another thing whether it, in principle, what's the appropriate stuff other than steel could be used for making carburetors, but the function of the carburetor is independent of the material it is made up of. Similarly, it's case of heart and kidney. Now, so mental states are also independent of any whatever material they are made up of. And mental states are defined by their causal relations with sensory input, other cognitive states, and behavioral output. Or you can read instead of cognitive states, mental states. What does it mean? Take example for pain. So take example, for example, pain. What is the function of pain? And how we can define pain in functional terms. First thing is that there has to be sensory input. Now, suppose you accidentally hit your knee against the table. So first sensory input is the tissue damage. Now, tissue damage causes a mental state. That mental state is of pain, and pain leads to another mental state, which is a desire to be free from pain or to relieve the pain. And that leads to a belief, causes a belief in you that, look, if I go to a doctor or I take a analgesic, my pain will be reduced. And this leads to your behavior. Either you consult a doctor if you are hurt badly, if it is bleeding, so you will go to a doctor believing that going there is the right thing to do. So it's a decision, it's a problem solving, it's decision making, all these cognitive states, you're implementing them, but it's a causal chain from input to the behavioral output. It's a function. So how do we define pain? Pain is a mental state which is defined not by how it is, what it is made up of, but rather how it is connected to the sensory input, that is being hit by the table or knocking your knee against the table. And then again, this belief, this pain, feeling the pain is causing another mental state that you want to get rid of that pain, you have desire of that pain, to relieve yourself from pain. And then there is another mental states, that is a belief that what sort of action will be right course of action. And then this determines your behavior. So implication of this is that mental states are multiply realizable. What simply means is that mental states can be realized by any material, suitable material, which can support this whole causal chain from sensory input to internal mental causal relation between internal mental states, and then the causal output, causally determined output in terms of behavioral output. Now, how does this connect to the AI and research program? Now, the cognitivists, the idea that mind can be a computer comes from the fact that computers could perform similar cognitive tasks to human mind if an appropriate program was available. So if first thing was that since the advent of Neumann's, John von Neumann's digital computers, it became clear that if you can store a program in a computer, that is all the instructions are stored, it can run on its own. And it is irrespective of what the computer or the hardware is made up of. You can implement the suitable the program. Now, if program is something which is like the description of how our mind functions or works to solve a problem, if you can suppose calculation, so how our mind does the calculation, how do we do calculation, if that can be written in the set of instructions in the form of instructions, which is basically a program, and it can be implemented on a computer. So it doesn't matter what the computer is made up of, the hardware of the computer is made up of, it can run, and it will not only take inputs, and the input will bring changes in its initial state, which will cause another state and further another state, and ultimately it will give an output. So somehow the way software hardware relationship in computer is very much similar to the mind-brain relation as far as human beings are concerned. And the idea is that all this mental activity that cognitive science is trying to study, the human mind, computational theories or the cognitivism about human mind, which is combination of computationalism and physical symbol system hypothesis, is the best model. So whatever our biological brain is doing, if it can be done by a similar sort of device, which is not actually biological, but made up of some other stuff. And again, why people are saying that and why people are so confident in saying that, because it seems that the cognitive processes which are equivalent to running a program, seems to be multiply realizable, just like mental states, in the sense that they're abstract. And what is important is that if you can implement that in the form of software, if you can run that software, it will give you the similar output as a human mind does. Now, there are many versions of functionalism and there are different varieties of it, but at the same time there are criticisms of functionalism as well, and which leads to consciousness. And the idea or the critique is the most important critique is that the functional definition of mental states does not explain the qualia, the feeling that is attached to the pain. And there is a vast literature on this, which leads into phenomenal consciousness. And it is called absolute